Greetings fellow mammals, once again you could vote on this episode's topic, and that is why today we will take a look at the PBX, the loadout I use for it now, and if it still deserves its place in S tier. So as usual, we will start with the time to kill charts. I have received some feedback on the last episode about them being a bit hard to read, so I changed the look a bit. Let me know in the comments if it's better now. Anyway, here's our first ammo type, close combat. This 200 milliseconds time to kill right at the start there is by the way the fastest in the game for any full auto weapon. So that is already a strong start. Let's follow this up with standard. Not bad, but honestly, why use this when you can use close combat? I know, there is an extended magazine, but that one has 40 rounds, and close combat already has 35, so that's not really a meaningful improvement, is it? And you would lose out on time to kill at a few ranges here, while also getting a slower reload, higher recoil, and worse spread. So maybe this could just work as a reliable backup. What about high power then? Okay, yeah, this looks like you would expect it to. Clear improvements at range, but surprisingly also up close. But I will say this right now at this moment, so we don't have to cover this later again. High power only has 20 rounds, and the visual recoil is also atrocious. While recording for this episode, I used this ammo for 2 entire matches, and it just didn't click with me. It felt like you can't really benefit off of the better time to kill, because due to the increased recoil and spread, you simply do not land your shots half the time. And then added onto that is the issue of only having 20 rounds. So not only are you barely hitting anything at the ranges where this ammo is supposed to be better, you also run out of shots before you can land enough of them to actually get a kill or two. That's why for me high power is already out of the question at this point. Which brings us to the last option, subsonic. The PBX is actually one of the few guns where subsonic is a good choice. It reminds me of the M5A3 in this instance because it is simply an upgrade of standard. And same as in that gun, you only get a 30 round mag compared to a standard extended 40 round option, but you can benefit from the removal of tracers. But different to the M5A3, the PBX has no short barrel, so you can actually combine it with a suppressor here without losing out on performance. Okay, so let's wrap up the ammo section. Close combat is easily the best, subsonic comes in second place with its usual bonuses but being restricted to a 30 round mag, and as a decent backup we got standard ammo, which you could run over subsonic if you prefer having 40 rounds over 30 with slightly worse performance. High power will not make it into my loadout though. The 20 round issue alone would be enough of an argument for me personally, but the actual performance during gameplay is what really disqualifies it in my experience. So let's talk about the other slots we have here. I already mentioned before that this gun has no short barrel. It does have an extended one though, but I honestly do not know why you would ever use that on an SMG, especially in this game. As I mentioned in earlier episodes, there are no restrictions here. If you want something for longer ranges, don't disfigure a good SMG into some Frankenstein mid-range tool, just use an assault rifle please. So if we don't use the extended barrel, what else should be put at the end here? Well, I tried everything for a bit, and in the end I found the tactical compensator to be the best choice. Apart from that, the obvious second place is the wrapped suppressor. If you feel like the muzzle brakes don't really do much for you, might as well run the suppressor by default. You should definitely switch to it once you change out ammo types for subsonic though, so that you can benefit from the 50 meter minimap stealth. And in the last slot I put the long barrel. I know, I just explained earlier that this thing is useless, but there is nothing else to pick, and maybe some of you can find a use for it after all. And ultimately, there is no downside to filling every slot. That same argument brings us to the underbarrel section. For me, it's definitely either the LWG grip or the LS1 laser. I'm not that big into hip firing, so I go for the grip, and the PBX already comes with good hip fire. But if you want it to be even better, use the laser. I carry along both for the same reason as before. And that's why in the third slot I also put the flashlight, because why not? Last but not least, the part I will usually talk the least about, sights. What you like to look through is completely up to you. As always, I prefer a simple red dot, thermal as an option, and something with a higher magnification to expand on my capabilities. This switchable 4x 1.5x scope is my choice here because that way you can avoid scope glint. Honestly, I never use these scopes though. Okay, we got the performance check, we got our setup fixed, so what's the verdict? Right now the PBX sits in S tier, but as a disclaimer, this gun has been nerfed a few times actually. For example, there was a time when close combat had that 200 milliseconds time to kill not for 10 meters, but for 20. So at that point in time there wasn't even an argument about its placement. But now that has changed a bit, and that brings me to my re-evaluation. After using this gun again for more than 6 matches actually, because it was quite fun, I have to say it's definitely not as powerful as it once was, but it also hasn't really fallen that far. It still fits that close range niche perfectly, with an insane time to kill and great hip fire. fire. Good magazine size, quick reload, subsonic being a decent choice and a stealthy option in combination with a suppressor, all the attachments you would want on an SMG, and in general, just a pleasant performance. It is without a doubt an S-tier SMG, but it does struggle a bit more than it did in the past to keep that rank if you compare it to other weapon categories. But for the time being, it's still rocking the fastest time to kill and really fills out that close range role. So until further changes arrive, I stand by my placement. The PBX, even after the nerfs, is still S-tier, and I would describe my experience with it as simple but reliable fun. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, give it a like, and if you don't want to miss the next weapon breakdown, subscribe and activate the bell. Down below there's a pinned comment where you can vote on which weapon we will take a look at for episode 7. And next up is the LCMG. I hope I will see you there. But that's it for today. I will see you all on the battlefield. Zorro out.
Enemy soldier down! Reloading! Cover me!
Oh my god.